Okay, we'll keep going. Help me fill in the blank. Content is what? Okay, maybe I should just throw that up there from now on. Content is not king, though. Maybe you've heard content is king. Put your hand up if you have. Right? I want to defeat this once and for all, at least in this room of us 200 or so folks. Content is not king for a lot of reasons, but let's start here. We don't teach content, we teach what? People. Thank you. We don't teach content, we teach people. When you walk around a higher education campus and you ask, hey, what do you teach? They say science, math, English, whatever. If you walk into the campus activities office and you ask those people, what do you teach? They say, I teach students. They help them get a life outside the classroom. And there is a difference. So we have to focus less on the content and more on the people. We don't train, we facilitate an experience. This isn't just about training. Now, if you were in Michael's session earlier, he used a lot of great, he just shared a lot of great stories about training and using clickers, training pets. He said, well, training pets is the same way we train animals. I mean, that makes no sense. Training pets is the same way we can train humans, and you can train humans with a clicker too. But it's not just the training, it's an experience that builds as a part of a relationship. It's not about you, it's about who? Them. If anyone says, wow, you're such a guru, you're doing the wrong thing. That isn't why they wanted you there. So now let me introduce to you this process that I'd love to be able to take you through, but we have 1 hour. So here it is. To build the experience, it has to start with what? Everyone say purpose. Purpose. All right? Now, I like to say purpose is an intellectual idea, but most of the time it comes from where? Our heart. So tap your heart and say purpose. Right? And then you've got to start with the vision. Everyone throw your hand out and say vision. Right? If you know why you're doing it, then you can set up where are we going, what are we doing with it. Then, not even the content yet, now is the setup and the context. Who are we working with? What is this all about? What is the room size? Is this a long experience, a short experience? All the details and the logistics that going into understanding who you're working with and how you're working with them. I showed up here to get this session started at 10 o'clock this morning. 10 o'clock. And I sat in the 4 corners to make sure, what do these people experience? What do they see? And you know what? There was another, believe this, there was another row up here. Could you imagine sitting right here, like on top of you? Hello. But imagine what this person all the way over here feels in this seat when they look at the wall in front of them. Now, I would love for every training, every conference to start using chevron seating. If you're not familiar, it's taking the seats that we have right now and make them into a little V, right? We change it, we build an experience around the people in the audience. Then we can get to the content. So start with purpose, the vision, the context, and then the content, right? And then, of course, the design, how are we going to design this so that it works, then the delivery, then the implementation, and lastly, of course, the evaluation. Now, it's a fairly simple process to explain, but then to do it is a whole other story. So what we're going to focus on here is the design part of it. That's why you showed up, make training a want to, not a have to, right? So let me start with a story here. Have you ever gone skiing before? Yes? Put your hand up. Know what skiing is? Seen a mountain. Okay? So I went skiing for the first time in 1999. That is me, the second guy there, hair. There was one point where there was hair. So this here is Brian, me, Ken, and then the guy who took the picture had a really big glove, and there's another Brian over there, okay? So we go skiing for the first time in 1999, and we get to the ski lodge, and the clerk who's helping us out says, would you like to take skiing lessons? And we all looked at each other, and we said, well, what does it entail? He says, well, we're going to take you out on the bunny hill. You'll have a personal instructor. Ken and I heard bunny hill. We said, no, of course not, no. But Brian and Brian said, yeah, we'll go take the skiing lessons. We'll go out on the bunny hill. So Ken and I, we rented all the equipment. We snapped in our boots. We clicked in our skis, and then we waddled about 1,000 steps all the way to the ski lift. Because no one told us, hey, you could walk there, then put your skis on. Okay? This is why we train people, right? So we get there, and now we're standing there. There's a little yellow line, and this magical ski lift is coming down. Now, no one has told us how to get on the ski lift. So every time we see it coming, we see it doesn't decelerate, it doesn't slow down. So we keep scooting out of the way. We're trying to time this appropriately, right? But then all of a sudden we hear this loud voice, "Sit down." So we do. And this magical ski lift scoops us right up, no problem. But we didn't know this is why we do training, right? Right? I used to say, we don't train people, we train animals. No, we train people. We train people. So we're moving up the ski lift, and halfway up, we look down, we go, wow, this is going to be awesome. There's snow everywhere. It's beautiful. Ken looks at me. He says, Joe, are you ready? I said, yeah. Are you ready? He said, yeah. I said, this is going to be a wonderful experience. We get all the way to the top. We hear another loud booming voice, because just before you hit this tiny little hill, what are you supposed to do? Pick your skis up, right? Now, what are we doing? We're just dangling there, just hanging, right? So we hear this, pick your skis up. Okay. We pick our skis up. Now our skis hit the little hill, we get propelled off, and then we tumble down, okay? Skis go everywhere. Ski poles everywhere. That's our first experience skiing. Now we pick everything up and we learned our lesson. We picked our skis up and we walked. We got to this long black line at the top of the mountain. We clicked in our skis. We made sure our boots were tight again. We got our ski poles. We're ready. Goggles on, all set. Now we look at this line, and at the end of the black line is a pole, and on that pole is a sign. And on a sign are 2 black diamonds. You know what that is? Nobody told me. So we're standing now at the top of a double black diamond, ready to ski. Same question. Ken looks at me, I look at him. He says, Joe, are you ready? I said, yeah. Here we go. Are you ready? He said, no. But because I had ski goggles on, everything was a little muffled, I heard go. Whoosh! Now, if you've never been skiing before, where do you get your skiing references from? The Olympics. Yes. So you take your feet, you push your feet together, you bend your knees, you tuck in your skis, and lean forward. What? It was awesome. You know how fast I went down that mountain, right? I didn't see anything. The little kids doing flips, I didn't see anything. Nothing. Now, you know the part where the snow ends and the gravel begins? I didn't see that. You know the part where the gravel ends and the parking lot begins? Yes.
I hit a trailer.
As I got up, people came out of the trailer because they heard me knocking. And they said, are you okay? I had some words for them. I collected all my stuff. I still have the same ski pants from 17 years ago. I had to stitch them up, you know, because it was a parking lot. So I grabbed everything. I start walking over, and I'm like, everything hurts. I don't know why. Right? And then I see 2 people in the distance running with their skis in hand. Right? Who do you think they are? Brian and Brian. Hey, oh my gosh, are you okay? You saw that? Wasn't it awesome? So we had this conversation, and then they asked me the most important question. They said, where's Ken? There he was, halfway down the mountain, skis in hand, coming down the mountain. Now, when he approached us, he took off his hat, he took off his stuff, blood all over his face. We said, what happened? He said, I got into an argument. With what? Trees. Trees. Now, let me ask you a question. All content remaining the same, might have I approached my first time skiing differently if I was married? Might I? If my wife was there? If I had children? If my children were there? See, it isn't the content, it's the what? Context. It's the people. It's the relationships. It's what builds all of this. That would have changed the entire content experience. Am I right? Right? So as much fun as that story is, I'm not allowed to do that anymore. I have to take care of my life. But I'll tell you, since then, I have gotten my wife to jump out of a plane with me. I've gotten her to walk on fire. I've gotten her to eat fire as well. So she keeps telling people I'm trying to murder her. I am not. I am not. But the content is different because it's about risk. It's about learning. It's about growing. It's about expanding who you are. And I can't wait to get my kids to eat fire. You know what they said when I said that to them? They were like, when? Right? My wife went, no, 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 no. Right? So we don't focus on the content. We focus on what? The context that changes everything. But the challenge that we're having, we have this great debate, is, well, are we going to focus on the content, which we're pouring water into the glass, or are we going to focus on the context, which is the glass? I'm pouring the water right now. I'm pouring this content, and each and every one of you is hearing it differently. For the same reason why if we all saw the same car accident outside, we all would have different thoughts. If you've ever been in an accident, that might trigger you. If you were saved from an accident, you might feel like, oh, I'm going to go help them or save them. If you never saw an accident, you might go, wow, this is crazy. If you love NASCAR, different experience, right? We are pouring the same content into a different context. Some people's glasses are super tall. Some of them are wide. Some of them are different shades. Some of them are cracked. Some of them need help. Some of them are broken. So it isn't the content, it's the what? Context. And if I haven't hammered this home enough, you can get content anywhere. For free! It isn't about the content. Let me prove it. How do you respond when I say, man killed dog? Awful, right? We go, oh, right? What if I said, man killed dog attacking baby? Now it's different. Now he's a hero, right? What if I said, man killed dog attacking baby, baby started it? Well, wait a minute, whoa! The story didn't change. But now you're laughing. Don't tell me it's about the content, right? So the brutal reality is we're doing the wrong thing. We're focusing on the content when that's not important. We've got to be focusing on the what? Say it again. Right? And if you don't believe me, let's go back to the McKinsey Report from 2014, Why Leadership Development Fails. How many of you are familiar with this? If you haven't, get familiar with this. First reason, overlooking context. I'm not making this stuff up. I mean, I did, but then it was found out to be true, right? And then it's understanding mindsets, decoupling reflection from real work, and failure to measure results. So all that, forget the first one is measuring context, overlooking context. It's understanding context. So if you want to get not only a return on investment from your training, but from your people, we call that a real ROI. A couple things we need to do. First, to have everyone fully understand, take ownership, and replicate going forward what is really most important to your organization and customers. This is how we need to design our trainings. That's what makes this real. Right now, let's continue that sentence. This is the only paragraph I have. Okay? So we want them to focus on what's really most important for your organization and customers to achieve breakthrough value before, I'm not a reader, before, during, and after the training process on what you are fully committed to both individually and organizationally. And then to wrap up the paragraph is this, with your collective time, energy, people, and money in order to achieve breakthrough customer value and organizational growth. Are you with me on this? Right? That's how we approach this from a contextual standpoint. But I think part of the bigger problem is people are used to doing nothing after trainings, after motivational speeches, after classes. I mean, what are you doing immediately after this class, after this session? Going to eat, going to another session. Who's going to take a nap? There's always one, right? You're not going to take the time to reflect and think, oh, how can I actually use this? So if your trainings don't have that built in, it's not going to happen. So what do you think I have built into this session? Yeah, reflection, follow-up, conversation. Let's make sure we can apply this. Now, what's really, really cool, fun story is I worked at Toyota back a couple years ago. And during a very long 2-day training, in the middle of the first day, a couple of the trainers came up to me and they said, we don't know if we can do this, making it fun engaging and interactive, because Japan sends over all their manuals and every slide is really big. I said, look, if I can't convince you and I haven't convinced you, then I'm not going to be able to. So I got the VP of HR. I said, can you talk to these people? And I went and I sat down as part of the audience. I kid you not. VP of HR gets up there and goes, do what Joe tells you to do. I said, give them something more. So he goes on and he says, yes, we can do this. We can't change the content, but we can change the what? The context, right? You can change the activities, the experience, the way people learn. Because of this, the mind never forgets what the heart remembers. Your mind never forgets what your heart remembers. If I play a song for you, you can probably get taken back to the first time you heard that song, or what that song meant, or who you were with when you heard that song, right? Because that's an emotional experience. That's what we're doing here. When we build our trainings, we've got to put in heart, humor, and spectacle. I told the guy behind the camera, hello. I said, I'm going to fall down later. He said, what? And he didn't, I don't know if you thought I was real. I was like, no, for real, I'm going to fall on the stage. I'm creating a spectacle. How did you feel immediately as I fell down? How many of you were a little worried? How many of you were going, oh my goodness, this is cool. I would never see this anywhere else, right? It's a spectacle. Don't worry, there's more of that, right? But we got to tap into people's heart. We've got to use humor to engage them and then create some sort of spectacle. And wouldn't you believe it, the people at Toyota can actually do this too. Even though they have 500-page manuals of how they're supposed to do their training. If they can do this, you can do this.